Welcome to the Red Dice Diaries, and in one of Tim Harper's recent videos, or Samwise7RPG as you might know him in the YouTube community, he asked us what our role-playing limits are. Now of course I have my own preferences when it comes to game systems and types of background that I've learned over the course of my role-playing career, if you will. Not to say there's anything wrong with systems and games that I don't enjoy. If you like them, crack on, good luck to you. But they just don't particularly float my boat. Now, I don't really have any limits in terms of what I will and won't discuss in a game. I think games can be a great space for exploring alternate states of mind and topics in a fairly safe environment. However, as with films, TV series, etc., I generally prefer not to be immensely graphic with certain scenes. Now, this isn't because I don't feel comfortable with that, but it's just a case of, unless a game is specifically designed to focus on those areas, I feel that being particularly graphic gives those elements a high level of priority in the game. And I don't think it's always necessary to get across the idea of what's actually going on. I think using a more subtle descriptive style can often be equally as good, if not better. To give a non-game example, if I sit down to watch a horror movie and most of the movie is taken up with gratuitous sex scenes, then I'm not really getting what was advertised. By the same token, if I turn up for a game and the GM has said this is going to be a pretty graphic game and it's going to be fairly full on, then I'm prepped for that. That's what I'm expecting. If, however, I turn up expecting a standard D&D heroic romp and we suddenly veer off into that territory, then it's a little more jarring and I'll probably be a little bit confused by it and won't really be sure of where exactly the game's heading and what sort of tone it's reaching for. Now this brings me to my second point in this video, which is sensitivity. Now, as someone who GMs a fair amount of games, just because I'm personally generally comfortable with most topics doesn't mean that all players will be. And of course, I don't want to create any ill feeling from the players. In his reply to Tim's original video, John Drury, and I'll put a link to his reply down below, rightly said that when you game with a regular group, you sort of get to know each other's limits, which is absolutely fine. However, with a new group or for a one-off session, that might not be the case. And there are a few ways you can avoid creating any ill feelings. One, let the players know if your game differs from the default assumptions of the setting. For example, if I'm running Star Wars, you'd expect space battles, the Force, the Empire, etc. But if my game was going to be particularly gory or explore other themes not really touched on in the core game, then mentioning this to the players at the start would be a good idea. You're managing their expectations, as it were. And number two, just have a quick check with your players to see if they have any no-go areas or subjects that are particularly emotive for them before the game starts. Just having that bit of forethought at the start of the game can prevent further problems with this in-game. It's far better to find out at the start if there are subjects that are going to prove problematic than when you actually bring them up in a game. So there we are, that's my thoughts. Just a quick video response on RPG limit. I don't really feel that I have any limits myself. I do think that certain elements of a game can be given higher or lower prominence in a game session based on that game, but I think that you should let players know what to expect when they're going into a particular game, particularly if your version of Star Wars, D&D, whatever, differs radically from the default baseline. So I hope if you've enjoyed this video, you consider clicking on the red dice up there to subscribe to our channel. You can check us out on all the normal social media and on our webpage at www.reddicediaries.com. Until I see you next time, take care and happy gaming.